the Phantom's shadow. In the boundless expanse of the Roblox universe, where floating islands dance amidst cotton candy clouds and emerald rivers, wound through valleys of shimmering blocks, lay a world known as Aetheria. It was a realm of unparalleled beauty, famed for its towering, gravity-defying structures and the vibrant, almost impossibly bright colors that painted its landscapes. Aetheria hummed with an almost palpable energy, a silent symphony of creation and discovery. Lumina, a young explorer with an insatiable curiosity and a knack for unearthing the forgotten, called Aetheria her home. Her avatar, a sleek, agile figure with hair like spun starlight, was a familiar sight, traversing the treacherous sky bridges and scaling the dizzying peaks. Lumina wasn't interested in the usual block battles or competitive races. Her joy came from solving the quiet mysteries that whispered through Aetheria's ancient ruins and forgotten caves. She possessed an innate ability to perceive the subtle shifts in the world around her, a sixth sense for the untold stories hidden beneath the surface. One particular evening, as the twin suns of Aetheria dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery oranges and deep purples, Lumina found herself perched on the highest spire of her favorite floating isle. The air grew cool, and the unique nocturnal flora of Aetheria began to softly glow, casting ethereal light across the landscape. A sense of tranquility washed over her, a perfect end to a day of mapping newly discovered cave systems. But this night was to be different. A peculiar tremor vibrated through the very blocks beneath her. It was too subtle to be an earthquake, too rhythmic to be a mere gust of wind. It felt resonant, as the last sliver of sunlight vanished, plunging Aetheria into a velvety blue twilight. A faint, almost inaudible hum began to fill the air. Then she saw it. A shimmering, translucent form materialized out of the deepening gloom, just beyond the edge of the spire. It wasn't solid, yet it held a distinct shape, vaguely humanoid, with long, trailing wisps that seemed to ebb and flow like smoke in a breeze. Its core pulsed with a soft, cyan glow. A phantom. Lumina had heard tales of Aetheria's phantoms, ephemeral beings rarely seen, and even more rarely understood, usually retreating at the first sign of a living player. Yet, this one did not retreat. Instead, it drifted closer, its glowing form seeming to focus on her. A jolt of unease, quickly followed by a spark of intense curiosity, ran through the Lumina. The phantom hovered, its form undulating gently, then slowly began to circle her. Another shimmer, and then another. As more phantoms materialized from the twilight, their soft cyan glows creating an otherworldly halo around her spire. They didn't appear hostile. There was no aggressive movement, no charging, no attempt to push her off the edge. Yet their presence was undeniable, their collective silent gaze fixed solely on her. They were targeting her, not with malice, but with an unnerving singular intent. Lumina tried to move, to slip away, but wherever she stepped, the phantoms subtly shifted, maintaining their loose, encircling formation. It was as if they were a soft, living current, gently nudging her in a particular direction. She noticed their collective glow seemed to pulse rhythmically, brighter and more insistent when she hesitated, softer when she drifted towards the north. They were guiding her. Her initial apprehensions slowly gave way to an overwhelming desire to understand. What could these enigmatic beings want? Why choose her? With a deep breath, Lumina decided to yield to their silent guidance. She took a step north, and immediately, the phantoms seemed to relax, their luminous forms flowing ahead, beckoning her onward. The phantoms led her across ancient sky bridges, their translucent bodies phasing through crumbling stone, showing her the safest paths across precarious gaps. They guided her through dense thickets of bioluminescent trees, their cyan glows illuminating hidden pathways that would have been invisible in the dark. The journey took her ever higher, towards the very zenith of Aetheria, a colossal, ancient structure known only as the Celestial Spire. It was said to be the highest point in all of Aetheria, shrouded in myth and legend, a place few had ever truly explored. As they ascended, the phantoms grew more agitated, their glows intensifying, swirling around her with increasing urgency. They weren't just guiding now. They were practically pulling her forward, drawing her closer to the Celestial Spire. The air grew thinner, imbued with a strange static energy that prickled Lumina's skin. Finally, they reached the spire's base. It was unlike any other structure in Aetheria. A single, colossal monolith of obsidian-like blocks, intricately carved with symbols that seemed to pulse with faint internal light. The phantoms coalesced around a massive, ornate entrance, its ancient mechanisms long since frozen solid with time and neglect. They pulsed frantically, pointing their wispy forms towards a particular point on the massive door. A circular indentation, perfectly smooth, seeming to yearn for something to fill it. Lumina's heart pounded with a mix of awe and anticipation. This was it. This was what they had been leading her to. She scanned the ancient carvings, her mind racing, searching for a clue. She rummaged through her inventory, a vast collection of peculiar items gathered from countless adventures. A strange shard of crystal, found deep within a forgotten mine, shimmered with a soft, internal starlight. A peculiar chime, crafted from ancient, resonating metals, hummed faintly. A smooth, iridescent orb, a star prism, always seemed to glow with a faint, warm light, a relic from a comet that had once grazed Aetheria's atmosphere. Her gaze landed on the star prism. As she pulled it out, its gentle light seemed to intensify, catching the attention of the surrounding phantoms. Their collective glow pulsed with excitement. Slowly, Lumina extended her hand, the star prism held aloft, towards the circular indentation on the door. It was a perfect fit. The prism settled into the ancient slot with a soft click, and a low, resonant hum reverberated through the very spire. The obsidian door slowly, majestically, began to retract, revealing a cavernous chamber within. The phantoms streamed past her, their silent forms rushing into the darkness. Lumina followed, her footsteps echoing in the vast silence. The chamber was immense, stretching into unseen heights. In its very center, a colossal mechanism dominated the space. It was a complex array of interlocking gears, shimmering conduits, and gigantic crystalline lenses, all slowly, almost imperceptibly, turning. But something was wrong. The lenses were dim, the conduits barely glowing, and the gears turned with a sluggish, almost mournful slowness. This was the heart of the sky, the legendary engine that powered Aetheria's vibrant colors and sustained its floating islands, now slowly fading. The phantoms swirled around the dormant mechanism, their glows flickering with what Lumina could only interpret as deep sorrow. They were not threats. They were guardians, spirits of Aetheria's lifeblood, distressed by its slow demise. They had sought her out, chosen her for a reason, and then she understood. The star prism. It was more than just a key. It was a power source. Lumina approached the massive mechanism, her eyes tracing the intricate patterns of its energy pathways. She noticed several smaller empty circular slots on a central console, identical in design to the one on the door. The phantoms, sensing her intention, pulsed with renewed hope, their glowing forms highlighting different points on the console, urging her to find the correct sequence. It wasn't easy. She tried placing the star prism into different slots, but nothing happened. She observed the dormant conduits, noticing faint lines of latent energy that seemed to connect certain points. It was a puzzle of flow, of reigniting the network. She focused, recalling the patterns of light and energy she'd seen in Aetheria's deepest caverns. A common thread woven through the world's hidden mechanics. With determination, she carefully placed the star prism into the main activation slot, then touched another, then another, following the ethereal energy lines she now clearly perceived. With the final connection, a mighty hum reverberated through the chamber, growing louder and more resonant with each passing second. The crystalline lenses began to glow, faintly at first, then brighter and brighter, until they pulsed with blinding celestial light. The gigantic gears whirred to life, gaining speed and momentum, their synchronized movements creating a symphony of power. Energy pulsed outwards from the mechanism, coursing through the chamber's walls, and then, impossibly, through the very spire itself, into the sky above. Outside, Aetheria transformed. The sky, which had been a canvas of deep blues and purples, exploded into a kaleidoscope of new, brilliant colors. Streaks of emerald and gold danced across the heavens, swirling into magnificent aurora borealis. Newly formed constellations glittered with an intensity never before witnessed, and distant nebulae, once faint smudges, now pulsed with vibrant life. Aetheria had been restored, its celestial heart beating strong once more. The phantoms, their forms now radiating a serene and vibrant glow, circled the fully activated mechanism in a silent, graceful dance of gratitude. Their mission complete, their purpose fulfilled, they slowly began to dissipate, their forms dissolving into shimmering motes of light that drifted upwards, becoming one with the newly revitalized sky. They were not gone, but integrated, guardians of the light they had helped restore. Lumina stood alone in the heart of the Celestial Spire, bathed in the radiant glow of the resurrected mechanism. A profound sense of wonder filled her. The phantoms, once mysterious and unsettling, had revealed themselves to be desperate, benevolent entities, seeking only to preserve the beauty of their world. She realized then that appearances could often be deceiving. What seemed frightening or strange could, in truth, be a plea for understanding or a pathway to an incredible discovery. Her curiosity, her perseverance, and her willingness to look beyond the ordinary had not only solved a profound mystery, but had also helped to reignite the very soul of Aetheria. It was a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest adventures lay not in combat or competition, but in the quiet pursuit of knowledge, the courage to explore the unknown, and the open heart to offer help where it's needed most.